Okay, good morning. This is Richard Hsu, host of Hsu Untied. This morning, I'm really thrilled and honored to have with me as my guest Ned Sherman, who's the Chief Business Affairs and Legal Officer at SkyBound, a former law firm partner. Ned, welcome to the program.
It's an honor to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
So, Ned, I wanted to start by maybe asking you, you were a partner at Manat doing corporate law. I assume you're doing stuff in entertainment. Tell me a little bit about how this opportunity kind of presented itself. Did it find you? Did you find them? Were they a client? Tell me a little bit how that happened.
Right. I've been working at the intersection of media, entertainment, and technology for over 25 years now. And at Manat, I led our digital transactions unit, which was kind of that same mix of legal services. In fact, we even included consulting services. As you may know, Manat is unique among law firms to also have a consulting division, and that overlapped with the group that I ran at Manat. So I was working with a lot of emerging growth companies in this space that you'd largely call kind of digital entertainment or interactive entertainment. There are, a lot of companies that are kind of breaking out of the old traditional Hollywood mold of being singly focused on a medium, whether it's television or movies or music. And SkyBound, the company where I currently am an executive, is one of those companies that really stood out to me as doing it well. So I've been watching the company for quite a while. I'd had a past relationship dating back to my days working at Loeb and Loeb, maybe 20 years ago, working with the chairman of the company. And their general counsel had reached out to me at the suggestion of the chairman about Manat doing some outside legal services for the company. We were actually in the process of pitching our services to SkyBound. When about a week into it, the general counsel announced that she was leaving the company and she was going to be joining another entertainment company.
Oh, interesting.
And we transitioned, or I suggested that we transition the approach to what we might do to them to providing outside general counsel services to the company. And in fact, I had identified someone at Manat in our New York office who I thought would be the perfect person to be this outside general counsel for SkyBound while they figured out their next steps. About 2 weeks into this process of meeting dozens of people at SkyBound about this potential role for Manat to be the outside general counsel for the company, I get a text from the chairman. He says, could you meet me this afternoon? And I was actually up in San Francisco, and he was in San Francisco. So I go down to this hotel, sit in the lobby of the hotel. I'm kind of expecting that this may be our moment to get the gig. And he says, we really like the pitch you've put together, but, we really like you. And would you consider, not being a temporary general counsel, but actually, interviewing for the position?
Wow.
So that was the turn of events.
Interesting. Well, tell me a little bit about SkyBound and what attracted you to do this. I mean, it's a big leap. I mean, I know you had been in-house before, it looked like, but obviously you had a very successful practice at Manat. What made you decide to leave that? I'm sure
it's
a hard
a
decision.
great question. I was not looking. I was very, very happy at Manat, a terrific law firm, had a strong book of business, a growing practice.
Yeah.
And really felt it. I can recall mentioning to my wife, I could see myself retiring at Manat, in the future. But it did seem like a once in a lifetime opportunity to join SkyBound at a point where they were seeing some tremendous growth. Just a little background on the company is we started out as a comic book company with a very prolific comic book creator, Robert Kirkman, who is the creator of the Walking Dead comic book series.
Oh, wow.
And he started a company with David Alpert And then John Goldman joined as one of the key founders. There are three founders of the company, and started adding different mediums to the business. So it went from being a comic book company to a comic book company with a television division. And as you're probably aware, Walking Dead is the most successful cable television show in history and
Yeah, right.
continues to have a huge audience. And what I really liked about the opportunity is, as I mentioned before, I've kind of always been in this position where I'm working across mediums.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've never specialized in games or television or music. I've always kind of touched all of the above with a lens on deal making and corporate finance. So the opportunity to join a company that really is a multi-platform entertainment company was a very exciting opportunity.
Interesting. Now, it looks like you're not just the general counsel. It looks like you're also the chief business affairs. So you must wear a business role. Tell me a little bit about that role and how that's different from just being the pure general counsel.
Yeah, it was a condition for me joining the company. Is as I mentioned, I had been running both the digital transaction unit and one of the consultants in Manat's digital consulting practice as well, and which in the role as a consultant, found myself, in a sense, doing the types of things that a McKinsey consultant or Boston Consulting Group consultant would do. So very much enjoyed that balance between being in the executive business role and being able to bring legal skills to the representation. So yeah, so at SkyBound, I wear both hats. I manage a team that includes all of our in-house attorneys, as well as 20 plus outside law firms that we work with on different elements of what we do.
Wow.
Uh, and then the corporate development department also falls under my purview, as well as our outbound licensing as well.
Wow. So how do you divide your time? I mean, is it 50-50 or does one take more than the other? I mean, how do you divide your time? Because those each sound like full-time jobs.
It can vary. It can vary. We have really made an effort in the last year to focus on inorganic growth through acquisitions, and in fact, in the past year, made three acquisitions,
Good.
all overseas, as a matter of fact. And during that time period, I would say I was heavier on kind of the corp dev, business strategy side of things. Today, it's probably closer to a 60-40, with 60 being on the legal side of things, but that can shift at any time when a new deal comes in the door.
Interesting. So what kinds of things on the business side you're evaluating new in acquisition targets, licenses? What are the main business activities?
If you're kind of familiar with the role of an investment banker or in-house corp dev, executive, we are building a funnel of opportunities
Mm,
that may be target acquisitions or strategic partnerships for the company. So we're meeting with a lot of investment bankers,
mm,
founders, advisors, folks who are seeing companies that might be interested in looking at their strategic opportunities. And then we're evaluating those opportunities by looking at the financials of the company, looking at their makeup from an HR standpoint, how they might fit with SkyBound from a strategic standpoint, and bringing all that information to our team at SkyBound to dig in.
Now, most people think, being a law firm partner is a busy job, which it is. This one sounds busier.
In many ways, it is, Richard. I've never been one who kind of silos the job much. It's always typically been kind of part of my life,
Yeah,
and this is no different.
yeah,
I'm kind of always on.
yeah, I'm sure.
And I wouldn't want to have it any other way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's fun. One of the great opportunities that also brought me to the company was the opportunity to be an equity holder in the
Mm,
company, and
mm. Mm.
And so, I have a stake that is meaningful enough to really drive a lot of my time towards making this company the best that we can be.
Yeah, totally. Well, how are you enjoying it? I mean, you said, you really enjoyed being at Manat. Are you enjoying this more, or is it a different enjoyment?
It's a different enjoyment.
Mhm.
It certainly is. I think, on the one hand, it's a pleasure to have to wake up every morning and know that I have, one focus area, one company that I'm focusing on, rather than, the 50, 75 that I had at Manat. There's and I think, I'm perhaps a little surprised at how much I enjoy executive management.
Hmm.
Um, and it has become a big part of my job,
Yeah, I'm sure.
um, not just with our division, but also, helping the company think about how we grow both inorganically as well as organically, the hiring decisions that we make, the partnerships that we do, even things like company culture, and a project that we're doing right now on defining our culture, are things that really resonate with me and are enjoyable.
Hmm, interesting. Most people find themselves, they're either more like law firms or they really, really are more suited for in-house. It sounds like you actually can do, it sounds like you actually pretty well thrived in both. Is that kind of true?
Um, I believe so.
Yeah.
It's been something. It's interesting. Just to kind of take a step back. I think, I grew up in a family with a law professor as a father, a
Oh,
teacher as a
interesting.
mother,
Oh, interesting.
and I think from a very young age, I felt propelled towards going to law school,
Huh.
and um, and really enjoyed law school for the most part. But when I got into law practice and made the decision not to take the litigation route,
Yeah, yeah.
was something that I considered very seriously, and realized that I was found myself most comfortable working in a business law or corporate law practice. I really felt like there was kind of a missing piece just being a lawyer.
Hmm.
Um, and about 7 years into my law practice, I actually stepped out of law practice and started a startup company
Oh,
um,
interesting.
that still exists today, called Digital Media Wire Inc., and ran that company side by side with consulting and legal services that I'd provided as
Oh,
a solo
wow.
practitioner for a number of years. And while it was maybe not so much by design, it kind of became the DNA that
Hmm.
I brought to services that I provide. Is that I could walk both sides, have conversations with business executives and make strategic decisions, and then also be able to analyze risk and run legal teams
Oh,
in
interesting.
in these environments.
Interesting. Well, and this job definitely affords you, I mean, it's much broader than obviously just your average, let's say average general counsel position. So I could see how that could scratch that other itch that you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And one other thing that I decided to do later in life is in 2017. I went back to I did an executive business school program with HEC Paris. It was a fantastic opportunity. I was a partner at Manat at the time, and they were supportive of my doing this. Um, and I earned a degree, a master's in innovation entrepreneurship,
No,
with
interesting.
a cohort of 75 executives from all over the world, 26 countries represented. And it was a 18-month program that I felt added a different dimension to the skill set that I would bring to clients when I was at Manat, and now to the job that I do at SkyBound.
Interesting. Well, you've been a law firm partner, you've been an entrepreneur, now you're in-house. Do you see anything else is there, not that you're planning on doing anything soon, but I was just curious. Is there something in the future, distant future perhaps, that you would ever want to try? Law professor? I don't know.
I'm very happy where I am, and I have been doing some teaching, have been lecturing at the business schools at NYU and UCLA. Enjoy doing that quite a bit. The other piece of my professional activities, though, is venture capital, and
Mm.
this started at Manat. Manat is also unique in having the Manat Venture Fund, and I was one of the co-managers of the
Mm.
fund
Mm.
for the last 3 years that I was at Manat, and during that time, started a venture capital firm called Goal Ventures.
Mm.
And I have a fantastic partner who has spent his career in venture capital and private equity. And we have built a nice portfolio of around 25 companies that we've invested in at all stages, from seed to Series C, in the games and digital media ecosystem. And that's something that I really do enjoy,
Mm.
and think that if things ever do end at SkyBound, it may be something that I'd like to spend more time doing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, Ned, this has been a fascinating conversation. I really loved hearing about your career and congratulations on all your success. If you do decide to do anything else, please come back and tell me about it.
Awesome. I enjoyed it, Richard. Thanks for having me on.
This is Richard Hsu and Ned Sherman. Thanks.